Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ethos Online, where we want to learn to be, belong, and become the very best version of ourselves. And so today, whether you're joining us from your living room, your kitchen, or even while you're driving, I know some of you even are joining together in small living room groups and discussing these concepts. Wherever you are, thank you so much for joining us. Today, I want to delve into some interesting concepts. Before I even begin that, though, please, if you're listening, if you're watching, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell so every time a new video comes up, you're alerted. Join us. Send these videos out to other people, and let's keep building this group of people who are asking questions, wanting to affirm what is there, what is good, and continue deconstructing and reconstructing. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Wherever you're from around the nation and the world, welcome to Ethos Online. So today I thought it'd be interesting to, again, most of the time we delve into the teachings of Jesus in the Bible because for many of us, that's been our narrative growing up. And so, of course, we'll bring in other elements, as we continue to grow, things we continue to learn as our worldview expands. But for many of us, the Jesus narrative, the Hebrew Scriptures, is often where we've gotten our story, right? Our values, and so we oftentimes will go there. And so, I grew up believing that the idea that this book, this Bible, was a historical book. And so much like we look at like science books, history books, that's how I grew up. Like these are facts, right? But as I continued to grow, and as many of you continued to grow, and you ask questions, and you began to look at history and understand there were other tribes during these time periods, similar and different, but all writing similar things, we began to understand this is actually a bigger, more beautiful book, compilation, right? Of stories, poems, epic narratives, letters from kings to their people and back. It's a beautiful compilation. And it was written in order to help this group of people keep their identity, understand their values, and keep moving on an ethic where of course, they're getting closer and closer to understanding the beauty all around them and one might call the divine, right? And so this beautiful group of people, we call them the Hebrews. And the Hebrews, they're again on a trajectory. They're moving, they're growing, they're becoming more and more aware. And so we pick up the story today, and I thought it'd be an interesting place to start, where these Hebrew people, they have been wandering in the wilderness for a while. And they've wandered, they've gone against these really difficult moments, and essentially they've left slavery, and they're learning to be human again. And so this group of Hebrew people, they're wandering the wilderness. And so when you look in Exodus 17, there's an interesting moment where, again, Moses, now kind of the central figure for Israel, Moses and his people, they're wandering. And in Exodus 17, I find a really interesting moment. And I kind of want to dissect it with you a little bit. And so in Exodus 17, 1 through 7, it reads this: the whole Israelite community set out from the desert of Sin. So again, notice the verbiage there, the desert of Sin, traveling in stages, right, as the Lord commanded. Again, desert of Sin, traveling in stages. These are all concepts and words and phrases that we should be asking questions of. It continues, they camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. So again, as I've learned to continue dissecting these stories and these narratives, I'm always asking questions of words and phrases. And so think about this. First off, the desert of Sin. Some of your translations might read like the wilderness, right? So again, people during that time era, Israelites understood when you're in the wilderness, you are, or the desert, you're in a time of wandering. You're in a time of learning and unlearning certain habits. And so the Israelites, they are in the middle of learning and unlearning certain habits. And let's be honest, when we're in the middle of that, when we're in the middle of these moments of I'm learning, I'm unlearning, we make mistakes. And that's normal, right? That's part of being human. To be human is to make a mistake, and hopefully you want to learn from the mistake. And so Israel, right? The metaphor, the deeper picture here is Israel is trying to learn how to be human again, and they're making mistake after mistake. And the question is, will we learn when we miss the mark? Yeah? So watch this now. It also says they are traveling in stages. Again, when we understand the deeper meaning here, we'll get it, that it takes time, it takes space to leave the old things behind, right? It's going to take time for us to learn how to be in a normal relationship again. It's going to take time for us to move through the anger and the sadness, or whatever the thing is that we went through. It's going to take time. Anyone who says, "Oh, I'm over it," 2 or 3 days later, it's suspect, right? You know that they probably haven't gone through the proper seasons, the proper channels. They probably haven't gone through the therapy. They haven't done the hard work yet. And so, of course, they're probably not over it yet. And so, again, it's going to take stages. It's going to take time. It's going to take space to move through these things. And so we understand this idea. Traveling in stages is, again, a reference toward it's going to take us some time. The Israelite nation, don't be so hard on yourself, right? It's going to take time. And anyone listening, watching right now, from personal experience as well, I know too that, again, anytime you go through trauma, whatever it is, I think we have to learn to forgive ourselves. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to say the wrong thing. We're going to lash out. It's just all part of it. It's all part of it. And so learning to have patience with ourselves and with others, right? You've told me that story 100 times. You've said that thing so many times. Well, yeah, it's because that person or maybe you need to say it, right? Quoting my friend Kevin, you need to tell your story until you finally hear it. And so Israel is telling their story until they finally hear it. It's taking time. It's taking space. And then notice this. There's this name here, Rephidim. It is the place of rest. That's what the word means. So essentially, Israel, right? They've left slavery. They've gone through these stages, and now they're in a place where they have the potential to rest. They can rest now. And so again, we need rest. I came from a group of people. We firmly believed in taking time every week to remind ourselves we're not a machine. We're human. We need to breathe again. We need to get back in touch with community, the divine, ourselves, right? We need to take time. We need to take space. We need to rest. Because all of us know when we rest, right, when we take time, it opens something really beautiful in us. And we're able to look back at the week. We're able to celebrate victories. We're able to mourn the losses. We're able to do all of that only when we're able to just sit and relax and look back. And so Israel now has gone through slavery. They've gone through these different stages, and now they're at a place where they can look back. They can rest. But here's the thing about rest. It makes us really uneasy. And I know some of you, you're like Danielle, right? You're like my wife. She has a difficult time just sitting still. And I think that's in part because, yeah, she's an amazing, incredible person and she has so many things to do. But also in part, we live in a culture that doesn't respect the quiet, doesn't respect the sitting and learning from the thing, taking time and space, quiet, right? Rest. And so when the Israelites have an opportunity to finally learn from the past, to look back and like reevaluate, here's what happens. Here's what happens in chapter 17. It says this, so they quarreled with Moses. Right? Because some of us, we need drama. Drama's the engine that's going to get us through our week. And so some of us, we just can't like sustain life without having to create some kind of drama. Right? Because if there's not drama in my life, I'm going to have to create it because that's my engine, right? So you give people time and space, and what do they do with it? Well, some people, they jump right back into the drama. And so this is what they do. They tell Moses, give us water to drink, right? And Moses replies, why do you quarrel with me? Why do you put the Lord to test? Again, when I used to read this, I thought, well, they're only asking for water, right? Like, what's the big deal? Anyone would ask for water, but I'll get to it. Later on, we'll understand the deeper quarrel here. There's something bigger going on. There always is. And so, but the people were thirsty for water there, and they grumbled against Moses. They said, why did you bring us out of Egypt to make us and our children and livestock die of thirst? And so there's something really big going on here. Thirst, right? We have this thirst. We have this need for something that's going to satisfy. So think that through. When we drink, right, we take it in fully. This is really the last stage of all of moving through trauma. Basically, now that we've moved through it, we have to learn to inhabit the space that we've created for ourselves. We need to fully be present to it. And so they're saying, how do we do it? How do we fully be present in it? How do we walk, right, in this new life? How do we sit with it? How do we thrive now, right? You've taken us here. We have the time. We have the space. How do we thrive in it? How do we live fully? And so, of course, like anyone, Israel is saying, well, we need some examples then, right? We need some examples. We need some leaders. We need someone to go before us and show us the way. And that's why in chapter 17 it continues. It says, Moses cried out to the Lord, what am I to do with these people? They're almost ready to stone me, right? Because that's what we do with leaders. We project all of our anger, all of our frustration, all our mistakes. We put that all on our leaders. And no wonder, like pastors and politicians, no wonder we have so much drama and we cave so easily. There's a lot of stuff that's thrown on our leaders. And so he's saying, they're about to stone me, right? And so it says, the Lord answered Moses, go in front of the people, go ahead of the people. Take with you some of the elders of Israel and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile. Again, take with you the victories, right? Take with you the things that you've seen succeed. Take with you the good things from the past and go. And I will stand there before you by the rock of Horeb. Strike the rock and water will come out of it for the people to drink. So Moses did this in the sight of the elders of Israel, and he called the place Messah and Meribah because the Israelites quarreled and because they tested the Lord. And watch this now. Here's the thing. They tested the Lord not because they asked for water, but because they asked the question, is the Lord among us or not? They started to doubt whether God was even among them or not, whether goodness, mercy, justice, however you want to describe the divine, however you see the divine, is it even here anymore? Have we been left by ourselves? Is there nothing here? And so Moses becomes this really beautiful, interesting figurehead for Israel of what this new life, what this new freedom looks like. And Moses becomes kind of the picture of it. And so Moses will, hand down the 10 Commandments. He'll do all these different things. Moses becomes the head. Now, fast forward thousands of years later, and we come to this thing we call the New Testament. We come to this person of Jesus. And so with Jesus, you'll notice Jesus will become the next Moses, right? The next Moses. He'll become the next leader for Israel who's going to bring Israel into a new kind of freedom. And really, it's the old wrapped up in something new. Yeah? Yeah, old wineskins. Yeah, you got it. It's beautiful. And so look at Luke 4, 1-2. It says this. Again, Jesus will do everything Moses did, only he'll do it better. Right? Jesus becomes the Moses 2.0. You'll notice here, Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan and was led by the Spirit in the wilderness for 40 days. Being tempted by the devil, he ate nothing during those days, and when they were ended, he was hungry. So this thing could be weird if you take this very literally, right? But remember, these New Testament people, this first century group of people, they're doing, they're attempting to show people who are writing and reading this, who just lost their temple, they're attempting to say the Jesus message is actually the thing that's going to sustain us, right? Jesus is the next Moses. And so, of course, it's going to show Jesus, just like Moses and the Israelites, wanders for 40 days in the wilderness. Not 40 years, but 40 days. And Jesus is going to go through the same things, the same trials, the same stages that Israel and Moses do. And so what you'll see in this story is Jesus, he'll overcome hunger, right? He won't put God to the test, and again, you can take that very literally, it gets weird. Won't bow before other gods. Again, this is all part of the Old Testament story. It's just wrapped in something new. And so you see again, Moses, right? He prays for manna, receives food, yet he complains, disobeys, right? Just like the Israelites. Moses puts God to the test, strikes the rock. Moses bows before the golden calf issues, all of that. You can see the New Testament writers, they're attempting to show Jesus is the new Moses 2.0. It's in Jesus now that we're going to find our hope and our freedom, how to live this thing fully. Jesus is what it looks like after we've gone through the stages and we learn to inhabit this life more abundantly. This is how we do it now. This is it. And so again, you can understand the question, of course, by the Israelites was, is the Lord among us or not? Is life more abundantly here right now or not? Have we really reached the promised land or not? Is this thing here or not? And so when you read John 14, interesting because he answers it. And you can see this same thing, the same kind of response over and over again from Jesus. This is just one of the many. But you can find it in Matthew, Luke, Mark. You can find it all over. But Philip, I love this. Philip, it reads, Philip said to Jesus, Lord, show us the Father. Right? Show us God. Is God among us? Can we live this thing fully here and now? And that's enough, he says. That'll be enough. And Jesus replies, Philip, I have been with you all this time, and still you do not know me? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. Now go bigger with this, right? Anyone, again, thinking back, if you're an Israel, if you're a Jewish person and you read this, you're immediately beginning to think back to the Israelites. Is God among us or not? Is there hope? Is there freedom? Is this thing here and now? Can this happen? Can we live life more abundantly now? Jesus' response is, yeah, I've been showing it to you this whole time. It's been right here. The kingdom of heaven, the new reality. Have you been missing it, Philip? It's not about some day in the future when I'm king or not. That's not it. I've been showing you it right here, right now. And all you have to do is follow me. Emulate me. Walk in the dust of the rabbi. And so Jesus' teachings are enemy love, right? His teachings are life comes when we're in conflict and we choose not to use violence. We instead sit at a table and we have conversations. Jesus' teachings is about affirmation, right? Rather than marginalization. It's bringing the other in and finding connection with them. Jesus' teachings are basically a celebration of humanity, right? He doesn't say, Jesus, rarely you'll see Jesus say, I'm the Son of God. He says, I'm the Son of Man. And there's beauty there. There's life there, right? This thing can be lived out right here, right now. Is God among us? Where is God? Right here. Where's the divine? Where's the promised land? Right here. Where's the kingdom of heaven? Jesus says, it's here, it's in you, it's among you, it's all around you. And so going back to that original question, where is God? Today, I might say, you'll find God anywhere there's a peaceful protest, right? You'll find freedom, the divine, love. Where's God? Well, anytime someone is hurting and someone comes along and shows them love and compassion and mercy, you've seen it. You've seen it. Anytime that you've seen something beautiful in yourself, you've seen it. Anytime a religious figure steps down from their high place and humbles themselves before others and shows acts of connection, there it is. There is the divine. Whenever people from two different groups and tribes, Muslim and Jew, come together and they hold hands in solidarity, you've seen the divine among us. When a father holds his child, you've seen the divine among us. And so where is God? I would argue the better question, the more evolved one, would be, where isn't God? Isn't that fun? Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And I hope this inspired you to begin looking around you at wherever goodness and mercy are. Seek to live with those things. Make that your present reality, because this thing was meant to be lived right here, right now. As always, we would love to remind you that Ethos is a nonprofit, and we would love to have help continuing this ministry we do. And so please consider going to Ethos online. That's ethos-church.org/donate, and give that tax-deductible donation. We would greatly appreciate it. It helps us tremendously being able to do these videos and all the other things that we continue to do. And also, if you are somewhere listening right now and you think, I want to be a part of this, I would love to be a part of conversation with other people, then please remember the 1st and the 3rd of every month, we come together online and we have conversations with people from Michigan to Arizona to Colorado to Orange County, California. We all come together and we do this thing online where I'll lead discussions, and it's so much fun. So please join us there. Email if you'd like to be a part of that. Email me at tonywerfel@gmail.com and I'll get you connected. Or go to ethos-church.org, sign up for a newsletter. It's all there. And again, please remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, and continue to share these messages. Everyone, we love you. Take care, and we can't wait to join you next week as we continue to delve into the ideas of the Sermon on the Mount and really what these teachings of Jesus look like when they're lived out. Take care, everyone.